The famed Santa Fe Trail first came into use in 1821, the same year the Mexican Republic was born. The Mexican Revolution brought a shift in policy toward its northern neighbor. Under Spanish rule, New Spain had been restricted to trade only with the mother country, but with Mexico's newfound independence, things changed. The folks in Santa Fe, long overlooked by their southern capital, were eager to swap goods with Americans, marking a sharp break from the old Spanish mercantile system. In those days, any French or American trader who dared venture into Santa Fe or Taos under Spanish control risked being arrested and hauled on foot to Chihuahua or even Mexico City, where they'd land in prison. But with Mexican independence, all that was left behind. Santa Fe was flush with silver, beaver pelts, and buffalo hides, yet desperately lacked manufactured goods. William Becknell was the first American trader to head into Santa Fe after the Mexican Revolution. When he returned from his first journey, he rode into Franklin, Missouri, just west of St. Louis, and made quite the scene. Tying up his mules at a hitching post, he took his knife, sliced open a leather bag hanging from a pack saddle, and let silver coins spill onto the ground. In cash-strapped Missouri, this was a sight to behold. That moment marked the start of the Santa Fe Trail's bustling trade. In 1822, Becknell set out again, this time leading a caravan of traders with wagons, the first to take the trail. Near what is now Dodge City, they veered southwest, opting for a shorter route through the Cimarron Desert, a harsh, barren stretch of land with little to no water. The group nearly perished crossing that dry expanse, but luck was on their side when they came across a lone buffalo that had quenched its thirst at the Cimarron River further southwest. They killed the buffalo, opened its stomach, and drank the water inside. That desperate act sustained them long enough to make it to the river, and ultimately to Santa Fe. Becknell and his crew returned to Missouri that fall with news of a staggering 2,000% profit. He had sold a wagon in Santa Fe for $750, a wagon he'd bought back in Missouri for just $150. In 1824, Becknell set out once more for Santa Fe, this time with a larger operation. He led a caravan of 25 wagons loaded with $30,000 worth of goods, along with 150 mules and horses. By the time they returned in the fall, they brought back over $180,000 in silver coins and $10,000 in furs. From that point on, the likes of Murphy, Conestoga, and Pittsburgh wagons became a common sight rumbling down the Santa Fe Trail. Before long, U.S. Army troops were escorting these caravans to the Mexican border at the Arkansas River, where Mexican cavalry would take over and guide them the rest of the way to Santa Fe. It wasn't long before Mexican traders joined in, hauling silver, buffalo hides, and furs north to Independence and returning south with American goods. The Santa Fe freighters typically set out from Franklin around mid-May, reaching Santa Fe by late July, and made their way back to Missouri by September. The round trip covered 1,200 miles each way, a grueling journey across untamed land. Once in Santa Fe, the wagons rolled up to the local customs house, where officials inspected and taxed their cargo. The tax rate varied, often depending on the greed of the authorities, but the traders didn't fret much. They simply raised their prices and passed the extra cost on to their customers. This arrangement worked well enough until one governor's corruption pushed things too far. Governor Manuel Armijo, notorious for his avarice, imposed a staggering $500 tax on every wagon entering New Mexico in 1839. This bold move forced the American traders to devise a plan to counter his grasping tactics. Joseph Murphy crossed the ocean from Ireland to America at the age of 13, eventually settling in St. Louis. There, he apprenticed with a wagon maker and quickly picked up the trade. He developed a keen eye for selecting quality lumber, gauging the grain by touch, and mastered the craft of building sturdy wagons. By 1827, Murphy had struck out on his own, selling his first wagon to a Santa Fe trader, a sale that would mark the start of a long and prosperous business. Over time, Murphy's wagons became the backbone of the Santa Fe Trail, with his company eventually producing an estimated 200,000 wagons, lasting well into the 20th century. When Governor Armijo imposed his steep tax on wagons, Murphy adapted by crafting larger, tougher wagons to meet the traders' needs. He hired skilled German craftsmen and sourced seasoned wood for durability, using young saplings for spokes and hardwood for axles to prevent breakage under heavy loads. Once completed, the wagons were loaded onto steamboats, shipped upriver to Independence, and rolled off, ready for the rugged journey along the trail to Santa Fe. These towering freight wagons were true giants of the trail, born from the design of the Conestoga wagons. Measuring 14 to 16 feet in length, they could carry an impressive 4 to 8 tons of goods. The rear wheels of these behemoths stood taller than a man, with iron tires doubled in thickness to endure the harsh demands of the journey. There's little question that Murphy wagons were built with a purpose, to haul larger loads of goods and offset the heavy taxes Governor Armijo slapped on the freighters. And it's just as doubtful that any of those taxes ever found their way into the pockets of the people of Santa Fe. All said and done, the trade brought plenty of benefit to both sides. The Americans had a strong demand for Mexico's sturdy mules, jacks, and silver. Meanwhile, the Mexicans, cut off from the industrial hubs of their own country, were often in need of everyday essentials. Plenty of traders chose not to return home for good. Instead, they settled in the Southwest, marrying Mexican women, raising families, and building thriving businesses. This blending of cultures helped shape the unique character of the Southwest we know today.